So today we have a very, very special guest. And this lady, she's not only amazing, but very close to my heart. Welcome, Dr. Linda MicCormick. Hi,
Thank
Linda.
you.
How are you?
Thank you. Very good.
Thank you for coming on. And, it's great to have you. And folks, today we're going to have a little bit different type of Wellness Wednesday because, throughout probably 98% of the time on Wellness Wednesday, you've had a lot of health professionals. So today, though, we have a scientist with Dr. Linda MicCormick on, and maybe, Linda, look, your background, your CV is so long. Maybe instead of me introducing you, maybe you can, share with the people out there your background.
I will. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I just love this. I love being given the opportunity to share with you guys. And I think the goal here today that Samson and we really want to bring this to a level of just understanding from all of us. You don't have to have a science background, but it's kind of nice to know where this stuff comes from, right? So, but for my background, I've been in the pharmaceutical industry for 25 plus years. And I was, most recently, and for the majority of my career, the global director or senior director of medical affairs in drug development. So my job was really to get drugs from a compound all the way to human studies and approved by the FDA. So, going from soup to nuts, and of course to publish papers along the way. And the goal is really to help people, right? Because that's why we get into this field of medicine and of studying these kinds of things, is to really help people. But, it's a little different being with the supplement part, right? It's very different. And the goal is still the same. I really have a heart for people. I want people to be healthy and well. But instead of being reactive and trying to treat diseases and, some really insidious diseases that are too far gone, the goal here is to prevent and to be proactive about our health. And that is super exciting. And it's such a great place to be. So that's my background in a nutshell.
Three, we are so fortunate to have Mike and you with us, and we're very blessed in so many ways. Look, I want to congratulate you on your most recently published paper. You're a published scientist. So
I did. Thank you. Thank you, Samson. Yeah, I had a paper published in the American Journal of Kidney Disease. So people, you may not have heard of it, but it's a big deal. It's kind of like the New England Journal of Medicine for nephrology, for kidney studies. So that was lots of years of hard work to get that paper published. So yeah, thank you.
Amazing. So, and I think I heard that they're going to write an editorial.
Yes, it was. That's right. That's exactly right. They always select one paper, in the edition, in that journal, that issue, to write an editorial about, and they chose that paper, our paper. And so it's cutting edge and it's exciting because you kind of have to be something different to get the editorial. So yeah.
Cool. Well, we definitely have some heavy hitters, and you're one of them with three. We have like more than 1,000 healthcare professionals, and of course, also aside from you, on the scientific standpoint, recently we three welcomed a scientist on the scientific advisory board. Dr. Sasha Putri from Indonesia. She's actually a tenured professor in Osaka, Japan. So amazing. And she's also very accomplished as a woman scientist, especially one of the first ones in Japan to win an award. But along with you, we're looking forward to, what the scientists from the science side, from the, not only, I guess, the science, but also the regulatory side, the manufacturing side. Aside from Dr. Dan, you are an amazing source, of information about that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, most of us, we're just laymen. We don't know all the processes, etc. So
Yeah.
we are looking for as business builders and talking about sharing three is a credibility behind the science and what it is, what's all these certification, what are the processes. So that's very important for us. I mean, I think one of the first thing is, for example, we're very blessed with all those amazing doctors on the SAB.
Yes.
Now a scientist, but along with you, maybe because you come from a very different field, it's because it's not supplementation. So one of the very common questions we get is, are these supplements FDA approved?
Right.
So now, maybe you can address a little bit about that. Speak the truth about that.
I will. So I have to tell you, it's always been frustrating for me in, the pharmaceutical world because, man, it's hard to get stuff approved by the FDA. It's really tough. I mean, we spend a lot of money and go through a lot. And so, it's frustrating that it's really difficult to get drugs approved, even when they're good drugs, that they could really cure something or help, patients. We get denied more than not, And so, but it's frustrating because the supplement industry, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of stuff out there on the shelves that everybody has seen when they go into GNC or Walgreens or whatever, and you're just trying to say, so which vitamin D do I get, or whatever you're deciding to pick up, and there's no way. You have no way of knowing that it's true and good, and the reason is because the FDA does regulate the way the supplements are made and manufactured. But you don't have to prove safety or efficacy to put a supplement on the market. You don't have to. You have to do that to put a drug on the market.
So you mean Dr. Dan cannot make it from his kitchen?
Oh, he can, and some are, right? So, and that's the scary thing, and that's where we're different, and that's why I can put my name behind these, because we do comply to very strict standards when we don't really have to, right? There's a lot of stuff out there that has no standards of the way they were made or, what they say on their label. And so the thing we can't do is make claims, because the FDA does regulate that. They do watch, what claims we make, treatment claims, medical claims, cure claims, and we can't do that. And so, and that will get us in trouble, just like it would get the pharmaceutical world. We'd be in trouble if we made a claim that we didn't study, and it's really hard to get a claim, and we can't make those claims. So,
yeah, and I want to just caution everybody out there, if you're new to the industry or in the supplement, what Linda talked about, it's very real. Companies get fined. Not only companies, actually recently, I think it was last year, there was a distributor who was fined by the FDA, like a lot, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, because you keep pushing a health claim. So I would say, I think one thing, we have to be responsible, right? So when people ask you, oh, can it cure this? Can it help with that? You got to be very responsible, right?
Yeah.
So I think for me, one of the things I was so amazed, because I never had it any time in my 20 years career in this industry, is that when we first came out with the products last year, Dr. Dan already put together 6 huge dossier for each of the products. I mean, these dossier, I was looking at it again yesterday, is like page after page, study after study about particular ingredients that's in the product that has in publicly known in clinical studies, and it's all sourced and all that. I think, without making any claims, well, these are what the study have shown. You make your own responsible decision, right? And I would say that especially if somebody's under a doctor's care. Right. They should always, if they're concerned, they definitely should always ask the doctor, right?
Always ask the doctor. And I think that what's impressive is that we have all those studies and we don't have to, but we want to because we want to be different. We want to have, that credibility that you just don't see anywhere else in the industry. So
let's talk about that credibility, because a lot of people don't understand, like, especially you're so qualified to talk about this because, in your, former professional role, 25 plus years, you saw something like you were saying from, what did you call it? From soup to nuts? Or what did you call it? From A to Z, right? From something that you discover or create or simulate to create and then bring it all the way to market. So, for example, in terms of supplement, and it's similar in terms of manufacturing, because it's still manufacturing. We are so lucky how the company has put out all the certification for each of the manufacturer and naming the manufacturer. I mean, very transparent. So one thing I saw, actually two things I saw: NSF and certification for good manufacturing practice, GMP. So can you tell us about those?
Yeah, sure. So we'll start with GMP. So GMP is good manufacturing practices, and that is something that the FDA has put out that says if you want to put GMP on your product, this is the regulation that we set as the standard. And so it's a series of regulations, and it's a control for the environment that the product is made in, the sanitation, even the shipping, the receiving, the how well the people are trained that are working in the facility, just how everything is handled. It's from the water, how do they handle recalls, all kinds of things like that. And so that's the good manufacturing processes are a series of procedures and processes that are in place in order to protect the patient, the person, the consumer, that's out there. And the NSF is the National Sanitation Foundation. And that is, it's a company that's actually a non-for-profit company. And it was started by the School of Public Health at the University of Michigan. It's a nonprofit, and it was started way back a long time ago in the 40s. And now it's international. They do work in 150 countries, I believe. And so they're like the standard certification agency. So they're going to come out to your facility, they're going to knock on your door, and they're going to say, okay, we're here to certify you. We're here to certify your GMP, your practices. Let's see, but they actually help you. They say, we'll train you. We'll show you how to get the GMP certification. We'll register you, and we'll do all of that, and that's who the industry uses as their guide. And so we are registered with our products with NSF, and we do practice GMP. So we do both of those, and not every supplement does. So
yeah, right.
It really does add to the credibility of our products.
That's right. And on top of that, it helps, I guess it sounds like it helps the manufacturer to stay in compliance with FDA inspection.
Yes, absolutely. Because you do get inspected periodically, depending on the product, several times a year. Boy, and they come in and they will shut the place down and ask for all your documents, and they'll start walking around and they just take over. And you hope you comply. They could come in any day. They come in unannounced. Sometimes they come in announced, but if you're keeping up, you're fine. So then you keep your certification. So.
Okay. So for you as somebody who is on the inside, who knows the importance of all these things. So when you see it with Three, and I remember at the beginning, you and Mike are like, oh, we're all on board with this. So how does it make you feel as somebody who knows rather than somebody who don't know? What all these mean. How does it make you feel about our products?
Well, it's just, I am proud actually proud to be associated with Three and proud to have these products in our, armamentarium that we can talk about, right? And it makes me feel free, like, because now I know that what I'm saying is real, and you know what I mean. So, like, you want to be able to, say that these are well made, well studied, and they're in the PDR, which is a whole nother. I mean, that's a whole huge standard to have to be in the PDR. You have to have clinical studies, right, to be in the PDR, and have all of our products in the PDR is a big deal. The physician's digital reference, and so it's proud, and I feel relaxed because I know that we're good. I know that what I'm saying is true and real.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, let's move on then, because another thing about credibility as we go out, share the science and the opportunity. A lot of people ask about absorption because we have the clinical studies. Now, I was looking at it for probably the 10th time over today. Before our call. And I still have questions. I thought I did pretty well in math. I went up to calculus and, how it's applied in biology and all that. But I look at it, I noticed that there are quite a lot of mathematical symbols. I don't even know what they are. Oh my gosh. But in terms of the absorption study, it's the Cacao-2 study, essay, they call it, right?
Yeah.
Right? So can you tell us, because a lot of people don't know, I mean, like, is it compared to, it's just like any absorption test, or is there something special about that test?
So that test is an absorption assay. And, there's lots of assays out there, but this assay is the assay that's used to look at definitive absorption of compounds. And so it's very common, standard. It's like your baseline. You have to do that. I mean, that's a very widely accepted assay, and the FDA recognizes it as a valid assay. So that's why we did it. That's why Dr. Dan used that assay. I wouldn't get caught up in the numbers and the symbols and the assays, but you do need to have that kind of knowledge in case you get a question, right? Like, what the heck is that? And you can say it's a standard assay. So
Now that study is done in vitro, so it's predicted absorption, and it's just does a comparison with the organic control, right? So how confident, and what for you as a scientist, what can you say to somebody about the absorption from that study?
What do you mean, like, because there's no organic control?
Well, no, there is an organic control, but a lot of people, they don't know what that is, right? And
okay.
What can you say compared to, like, somebody like me? I go to Whole Foods, I pick up, I go to liposomal this and that, and I'm like, okay, so what's the difference, right?
Yeah. Well, and so when you look at this, is to me, these absorption studies they're really the crucial part of our whole product line, because it's really the baseline and the basic that can lead us to be able to do the epigenetic study, that can lead us to be able to do the superoxide study, right? Because sorry, I've got this tickle. I've been watching a grandbaby that's got a cold, and I'm not going to catch it. So
more immune.
I know, I'm down. So anyway, but so the organic control, why do we use that? What the heck is an organic control? You have to have a control. I mean, you have to compare yourself to something, right? And we know our organic control is, I believe it's curcumin, because curcumin, we know, is kind of one of those compounds that's, it's a struggle to get it into the cell. And, if it's the baseline, right? I don't know if I'm explaining that too well. But if you want to show, if you have an organic control and you want to show, how do I compare to this baseline absorption? I mean, we know how it behaves. We know that this is its absorption. And we compare everything to that, then we've standardized it. We've objectively standardized. And we say, we could compare this compound and it gets absorbed a little bit more than the organic control. It's almost like your placebo. basically.
I got it.
So how do you compare to placebo? How do you compare to just something that's absorbed naturally?
Mm-hmm.
And so with these, we can see that with each product, you have a different absorption, right? Rate. And so to me, this is such an impressive set of numbers. When you look at something that might be 300% of increased absorption, that means that I can count on a really big activity of that in my body. And so I know Eternal is really well absorbed. I know it is. And so if I'm trying to talk about these products to someone and they go, big deal. I mean, how do I know it's going to work? Well, because it's getting in your cells. And how do you know it's getting in your cells? Because it's getting absorbed. And, we can have, I'll say this all the time, we can have the most beautiful phytonutrients in the world, just great ingredients. And we can show you that they're great ingredients. We can test the ingredients themselves and show that they're wonderful, right? And they're well sourced and everything. But if they don't get in the cell, then they're not available to do anything. And so the absorption is the key. It's the crux of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is very impressive. I mean, when we were on the Asia tour, and of course, Dr. Dan came with us to all 4 cities. It's amazing. So he mentioned that even, a lot of supplements out there, they might say, oh, it's a 95% absorption, but only probably one of the many ingredients that it has that they take the one with the highest absorption and just put it there. Versus the way we test it with the cacao too is the product overall. Yeah. That's the absorption rate, right?
Right, exactly.
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So then, since our cells is a cellular absorption study, since our cells can absorb it, then it goes into the cells where it can affect our genes, right? We have 20,000 genes, and how those can be modulated up or down is a study of epigenetics. That's my layman's summary. So now, when I was looking at that, it's fantastic. It looks fantastic, and I know that for me and you, our previous, I don't know how many months ago, our Wellness Wednesday call, we talk about epigenetics specifically.
We sure did. Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of new people out there, so maybe you can share a little bit if when they look at the study, a lot of math, a lot of English that even if I look in the dictionary, I won't know what it means because I don't know how to apply it. But when it talks about affecting certain genes, a certain amount of percentage, modulated up or down, what does that mean?
So what it means, so I have to kind of back up a little bit. So first of all, you have your 20,000 genes, you have your DNA, right? That DNA helix. And what is the DNA? It's a blueprint, right? It's telling us what proteins to make. It's telling the body what proteins do you need right now. And so sometimes we need more or less of things, right? So certain things we want to be tampered down. We want inflammation to be tampered down. Sometimes we need a little inflammation, right? If we have something that needs healing, you want to send those inflammatory response out there and heal it, but sometimes it's over inflamed, and that's when it starts to be bad, right? So those are normally something we would want to tamper down and tamp down. And then there's some things you want to increase. You want more energy. You want better brain function, right? You want to have just better cellular health overall, and so those genes you want to be increased or up. We call it regulated, upregulated. So when it's something that's increased, it's upregulated, and decreased, it's downregulated. And so we have these genes that the DNA is saying, hey, make this protein, make this, we need it to be increased. And so, sometimes because of the environment, because of pollution, because of stress, we have a hard time and things can really be damaged. Our genes are really not functioning at the level that they need to be functioning. Or sometimes the ones that should be inhibited, the ones that should be tamped down, are increased, right? So we need to do something in a supplement form or in our diet or something to help, really regulate these genes. And so this epigenetic study has kind of shown that our products actually positively regulate the genes. They upregulate those genes you want to be upregulated, and they downregulate the genes you want to be downregulated. And so why do we do this study? Why do we do it? Well, you do it because, again, we could have the most beautiful ingredients in the whole wide world. They could get into the cell, but how do we know that they do what we want them to do? I mean, we say that, we might have something that will increase energy. How do we know? How do we know it's going to increase energy? Well, because we've done the study now that shows we upregulate the genes that are responsible for increasing energy. And there's several of them that we upregulate that are responsible for that. So it's really that next step, again, that nobody else is doing in the industry. I mean, nobody. So that's what's really cool.
Yeah, for me, when I think, of course, even Dr. Dan was amazed that the Eternal, can downregulate the inflammation gene.
Yeah, that's
50%.
Yeah.
Now, but let me ask you, what does that 1,250% mean to you as a scientist?
It means we have a very effective product. So what we're doing here is we're showing efficacy, and we're showing a super effective product. And if someone is going to take Eternal, they're going to get the antioxidant effect, right? They're going to get a protection from free radicals, but they're also going to get some inflammation regulation, which is awesome, right? So, and they're going to get it at a very, very high level. And I know that sounds like it is a huge percent. I mean, it just means it's super effective. And when we're in the pharmaceutical industry, I mean, we're hoping to get like a 38% improvement in something, and that would be a blockbuster drug. If you had a 38 or 40% like efficacy, you'd be wow.
Wow.
And so these are incredible, and it just shows that when natural works, good natural and good absorption technology works.
And I think, and we can actually, I think, because of conversation we also had with Dr. Dan, and actually, his last Zoom, he talked about the molecules, right? And part of what I, as a layman, know that how your DNA and RNA and protein work is the shape of the molecule, which Dr. Dan always brags about, right? He dreams about, how beautiful this molecule look, right? Yes. For us, most people don't understand it, but from what I've heard, that depending on the shape of the molecule, it also fits the different protein to regulate, to replicate correctly, or better, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it depends on how they fold, right? So like, for example, like collagen is a very big molecule and very hard to absorb. Mm-hmm. So, but the way that it was micronized, maybe you can talk a little bit about that, because that's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I just love that.
Because that's such a big part of the population that very few people, even Dr. Dan, that even openly talk about that. But maybe you can address, sure. Why is it so effective?
Yeah. Well, when we talk about micronization, is just making something smaller, but you can't just take collagen and cut it, anywhere you want. You have to be very, very strategic about the way you cut that molecule, because you can change its function. And so all of the proteins are shaped a certain way. It's called their conformational shape. So it's the way they sit in space. And it could be like, this is so different from this. It could change the function completely, Mm-hmm. And so if we just cut it here with an enzyme, and, and that was a really important connection, it's going to change the function. You can't just do that. And it just, this was very strategic, the way these were micronized. So we use the word micronized, but it's very strategically micronized so that it's smaller and fits inside the cell and gets in. And so me personally, I can tell you, my hairdresser said something the last time I was there about my hair being really thick. I don't know if it looks it right now, but and my nails too. I can't have to cut them now. I never used to have to do that, but so it's working. I mean, it gets in the cell and it's working, and so that it's amazing technology, and we have it, and we have it in a really smart way. So yes, the shape is very important. The protein shape. That's something that you have to take into account when you're doing these absorption technologies. You cannot change the molecule so significantly that it changes its function. That shape is very important.
Wow, that's so enlightening, because why does it work so good? I mean, for us laymen, it's like, okay, synthetic versus natural. The natural works better because obviously our body is designed to absorb phytonutrient versus synthetic ones. And then how it's micronized, or this absorption technology, that just the formulation part, and how would you just talk about how smart that is? Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, that's amazing. And
right. And when you have natural, your body knows that it's a building block. So you've got, maybe we micronized it, but these are building blocks that the body knows how to put together and make collagen with, and it's not the same with synthetic molecules. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, Linda, it's amazing to have you, and you're just a wealth of knowledge. It's incredible. We're lucky to have you.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm one that feels lucky and humbled, believe me.
Yeah, we dropped a lot of bombs today because, a lot of people we can talk about on a very superficial level, but just those few nuggets from absorption, then you can get to the epigenetics. Right. And because of the way it's formulated, where even to the molecules, the shape of it, how beautiful it is. Maybe now we can all, enjoy with Dr. Dan how beautiful the molecule is, because we know how it folds with the DNA, works with the gene, and that's why it's super effective. That's amazing.
Yeah, it all works. It all fits together. It's a great story. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait. I don't think you can wait either, with the new launch of a product coming up.
Yeah.
We can't say what it is. It's the first in the world, what it can do. And it's going to be a smash. And I'm sure the science behind it, we're going to probably spend months or years talking about, going in depth, just, because it's going to be beautiful. So I'm looking, and I'm sure you are too, looking forward to spending some good times in Salt Lake City.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see everyone.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Linda, for your time, and to a global audience out there. As a matter of fact, I know people are coming from all over the world to Salt Lake City. Excited. So it's truly going to be not only a North America but international conference. And then there's a lot of things being planned, and it's going to be a wow.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see everyone. Thanks so much, Samson. Thanks for having me on today.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Well, goodbye, everybody. Have an amazing day. Wherever you are, we'll see you next time.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.